And it turns out with the COVID-19 vaccine that it actually, unlike any other vaccine, has to be kept at a minus 70 Celsius.
Wow.
Minus 70.
That's
and,
cold.
I mean, it's really, really cold. And apparently it can be taken out of that frozen stage only 4 times. So when you think about not just like, I'm thinking like sub-Saharan Africa, how the hell are we going to deal with that? But even within the United States, there isn't an existing infrastructure. If we already had a vaccine that acted in the same way, we would have had an infrastructure at like, general practitioners' offices and stuff like that, where you could just like transport it there and have it stored in the proper way. But that whole infrastructure doesn't exist. So I think we'll see that the president-elect will have to call for tech for solutions for manufacturing companies. And ultimately, helping distribute a vaccine will be the ultimate collaboration of humankind that we've ever seen before.
Yeah. And Biden is actually on his way to prove that some people knows better than Trump, where he used to say, no one knows better than me. Well,
yes.
Now some people know better than you.
Actually, there is an advisory board of people who just do that. And probably their main sentence is not that nobody knows anything more than vaccines than me.
Yeah.
But how has the market then responded to the news of the Pfizer vaccine? TechCrunch brought an article called 5 VCs Discuss the Future of Software as a Service and Software After Pfizer's Vaccine Breakthrough. So basically the thing is, we've seen the stock market and general investments in tech have been sort of shifted upside down. When COVID hit us, some industries almost died overnight. Like, air, like travel by air, tourism.
Yeah.
The hotel, the entire hotel industry, experiences, all of that sort of almost died out overnight. But a lot of investment went into these software as a service companies that build, for example, the infrastructure for future of work. So we're seeing like Slack and Teams and Hangouts and Zoom. While these companies had pretty large market saturation already, the massive shift from home meant that they've been getting crazy, lots of investments. So, if the vaccine comes now, it seems like it will. We have to figure out how to distribute it. How fast will it be? What's the distribution key? Who gets it first? Sick people, old people, not sick people? Nobody knows. So how will it actually influence the investment dynamics? And it seems like most of the investors are so actually, like when it came out that Pfizer was this close to actually releasing the vaccine, we saw a surge in the stock exchange in companies that have been majorly suffering. We saw even, I think, Boeing went up. Yeah. So it's like airlines, cruise companies, and Boeing, their shares just like skyrocketed. Or I mean, they didn't. They went up. They should be happy. They went up, not down. But actually, a lot of software as a service companies, their stocks went down in price.
I've been doing some investing recently, but I'm a tech guy, so I'm investing like mainly in tech companies. And the moment they came out with the announcement for the vaccine, like most of the tech shares just went like rapidly down. People were like, okay, we're going back to normal. We don't need that much tech now. Let's figure out a way.
But I think that definitely, so if you are a tech investor, it's definitely premature to assume that we'll go back to what people call a post-pandemic world. First of all, as we already touched upon, the infrastructure has not been figured out. The distribution key has not been figured out. We know very little about the vaccine, how it will be distributed. We know that Joe Biden, the president-elect, has said that it will be free in the United States. But I think that we have to remember what happened when everyone was trying to buy face masks.
Yeah.
Modern day piracy.
Yeah.
We even, so I've been doing a lot of business in Peru. I remember getting a call from one of our advisors. He was really upset. He had just been in a meeting with the president of Peru. And this story, I never actually saw it hit the news cycle. But apparently Donald Trump stole over a million face masks from the Peruvian government because the plane landed in the United States to refuel before it was supposed to hit Peru.
And never took off.
It took off empty. And while that story never hit the news circuit, another one just like it did. The United States confiscated over 200,000 face masks that were going from Thailand to Berlin. And the German government was quite vocal. I think it was around July, saying, that they had also done a modern act of piracy and stolen 200,000 face masks. So if we can't distribute face masks without countries stealing them from another, what will things be like with the vaccine? If it's Pfizer, what's their distribution plan in distributing them outside the United States? So it'll be a huge shit show. It'll be quite interesting to see, what happens with that. So if you have been investing in future of work, I would continue doing that. But also almost all studies indicate that there's a significant shift happening and that a lot of people like to work from home. So it's an illusion to think that a vaccine comes and then everything just goes back to normal. I even saw a study just in Denmark yesterday where about 30% of the population said that they're not in a hurry to go back to travel overseas after the vaccine comes. So people have been changing their consumption patterns. We've never seen as many summer houses being sold in Denmark. It's the first time in history this many are being sold. So people are actually majorly changing their consumption patterns, and we don't really have any idea how that's going to pan out after a vaccine hopefully is released and works.
Redefine what's normal, because why would you go back to how it used to be, since there's so much development in there's positive things in this whole situation, so we can only change to something better.
Exactly, and if you're investing in, if you're investing in Slack, if you're investing in, Teams or anything in the ed tech, anything in the future of workspace, HR tech, I don't really see a reason. We're seeing sort of a mass adoption of that, and I think we have to remember, in the last 24-hour news cycle, we've seen quite a lot of articles stating that New York is about to be hit by the second wave, maybe within 24 hours.
Poor people.
So, and they're even considering closing schools again. We're also seeing, I read an article this morning that states sub-Saharan Africa has barely implemented any e-learning yet. So while this, the pandemic gave us reason to faster adopt new technology, it's not like we're going to throw it out afterwards.
No.
We actually figured out that some people are more productive working from home. We actually figured out a meeting doesn't have to take an hour. It can actually be 15 minutes or 20 minutes or half an hour. So we have majorly changed already. I think we just don't know how much yet.